Are you rolling?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were still doing shit.
No, I was sitting here waiting on you. I was like, what is he doing?
I was like, what is he doing?
I figured you were, like, tending to Amelia or something.
Nope. It's just sitting here like, all right, well, okay, well. All right, then.
Well, let's get started.
Okay. Onward. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 55 of the HooperCast. I'm your host, Hooper, and this is your host, Dustin.
I'm declining to speak.
He's declining to speak. He objects. He's on a hunger strike.
I do. I hate this show.
And I hate food.
And I hate everything.
While Dustin is hunger striking, I want to remind everybody at the top of the show that if you like the last episode and this episode too, when you're done, this I'm assuming you're listening to it for the second time because it was just that great. You can donate to the HooperCast at the Tumblr page, hoopercastpod.tumblr.com, and you can click the donate button at the top, just $1 or $2, some shekels. Please don't pay pesos, because I can't do anything with pesos except look at them and say, this is cool, except it's not American dollars. So, if you'd like to donate, just click that button. Keep our little spacecraft jetting through the universe. And,
woo!
And, yeah, just keep on keeping on, and help us keep on keeping on. It's really what the message is. Anyway, Dustin, we've got some stuff to talk about. We both saw a slew of films.
We did.
But let's start with television. What have you been watching lately?
Well, I just finished off the first season of Almost Human.
Oh.
For those of you who don't know, which seems to be a lot of people, Almost Human is... I may have talked... Have I said anything about that on this podcast before? That's a good question.
A little bit, I think, just in passing. I think you just started.
Okay, well, it stars Carl Urban, and it's set in the future, and Carl Urban plays a cop named John Kennex, and John is assigned, as is everybody, an android partner. And so John's partner and you know, him and some of the other force become friends. And that's sort of what it is. I mean, they solve mysteries and murders and stuff, so it's not quite as hokey as I make it sound. But yeah, but basically it's about their blossoming friendship.
Oh,
with an android. And it's kind of a cool little world. It's like a Blade Runner-esque type place, and you know, it's just kind of a cool place. So it's an interesting. It's an interesting setting. It's an interesting concept. I mean, it's nothing new, but, you know, it's just interesting. And, of course, Carl Urban is kind of the driving force, and he's such a charismatic guy that you kind of get swept up, and you're like, okay, I want to see what happens to him in the next episode. Now, the show lasted for 13 episodes on Fox, and there has been no word as of this recording whether it's being canceled or renewed for a second season. But they did not pick it up for the back 9, which may indicate that it's being canceled, which is kind of a shame because it's another, you know, science fiction show on Fox that doesn't really get to get a chance to spread its wings.
God, that sucks.
And it sucks because, if I'm not mistaken, they have aired these episodes out of order, just like they did with Firefly.
Just like Firefly.
Yeah, and it's really kind of frustrating, and there's really not much serialization to it, but like I said, the show, the sort of overarching thing in between all these murders is the blossoming friendship, and so it's weird to kind of see one episode where they're friends, and then the next episode you watch, they're kind of like, you know, adversaries again, and then the next episode they're friends, and it just kind of skips around a little bit too much. But having said all of that, it's still, you know, a watchable show, and would I prefer that there would be some serialization in the show? Yeah, definitely. I think that for every show. But, you know, for what it is, mystery of the week kind of deal, I think it was, you know, a well-made show that had charming actors and actresses, and it's just kind of fun to watch. And because on TV you don't often get transported to another place. I mean, you see a lot of New York, or what I mean. It's just kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Random city. So this was kind of cool to see a futuristic city, and kind of the way that technology had evolved in this world is, kind of in the Apple kind of vein. It's all clean, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of interesting to see what they do, and I don't know. I'm sure it's an expensive show to make, and whatnot, but it is fun to watch, and it's on Hulu. So if you have a chance, sit through the 13 episodes. Like I said, be aware that they're not going to be on that in order, and I don't know that anyone has listed the correct order for the show yet. And also keep in mind that it may be canceled. Now, the first season is wrapped up nice enough that if it doesn't, then it was a fun 13-episode miniseries, just without as much character as you would like. But I feel like they wrapped it up enough that you can kind of be done with it if they're indeed done with it. But anyway, if it does get renewed, I'd like to see it get a chance. So if you guys hear of it getting renewed, and I'll keep you updated on the podcast. But if it gets renewed, I feel like we should all kind of watch it on Hulu or whatever, just to kind of. I guess they probably don't even look at Hulu numbers, to be honest, though.
Yeah.
But anyway, I feel like we should support the show because the show has promise, and I feel like it's sort of like Fringe, and I think it's made by some of the same people. In that Fringe, the first season was very mystery of the week, and then it kind of branched off into this really very serialized thing that was really hard to follow, even when you're binge watching it on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if the show if Almost Human takes a page out of their book and becomes serialized after the first season, maybe not as heavily or as complicated as Fringe was, but if it is at least serialized in its second season or beyond, I think it could be a really cool show. And the cast is really, like I said, they're just interesting to watch, and the characters that they've set up. I mean, for instance, okay, we're in a futuristic setting, and our main character, John Kennex, is kind of a relic of the past in that he likes things done the way that they were done before computers. Mm-hmm. Essentially, he would be a man of the past today. And, here he is in the future, and I think that's just kind of interesting. And yet, he also has a cybernetic leg, and I feel like you could do some really cool things, with this, juxtaposition of this character, like a man out of time kind of character. Yeah. And anyway, so I've spent way too long talking about this, but nevertheless, it's a decent show, and it sucks to see it kind of mistreated, and but whatever, it's decent.
Well, that's good. I have some of it DVR'd, so yeah, maybe hopefully it'll get continue to get picked up. It sucks that it keeps happening to the same kind of show.
Yeah.
I wonder if just Fox sci-fi showrunners just know to wrap up their first mid-season.
It may very well be, and it could have been that while they were doing that 13th, having not heard if they got a back 9, they were kind of like, "Oh crap, we need
some kind of closure."
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
and so like I said, it's not a great show, but it's interesting, and if you have 40 minutes to kill, it's not a bad way to kill it. And yeah,
that's good.
Yeah,
I was trying to finish the second season of Deadliest Catch on Amazon, and then for some reason all the play buttons went away and it won't let me play it. And it did that with all the other Discovery Channel shows. I don't know what's up with the Discovery Channel and all their stuff on Amazon, but it's causing me to not be able to watch them. So I was like, okay, well, I need to watch some kind of reality show to break up all the narrative drama I watch. So I hopped on over to Pawn Stars on the History Channel.
Okay.
And I got one more episode of the first season left. I like it because it's a 30-minute show, so I don't have to waste a ton of time committing to it or whatever. So you can kind of watch them when you just. I get through half an episode while I'm pooping, so that's not it's not too bad. Right. So but it's a good show. It's basically it's about it centers around this pawn shop in Las Vegas that's owned by this 3 generations of this family. So the grandfather, the dad, and the son, all of them obese, and they are. It's pretty cool. I don't know if I really like the cast of characters. There's some of it where it's just. It seems a little. I don't like the main guy, Rick. If the listeners, if you guys watch Pawn Stars, I imagine that you can tolerate Rick or you like him, so maybe you can't relate to me. But they'll do this thing where it's like the people will come in, they'll be like, so they'll give you the whole history of this, this World War II uniform they brought in, and so then Rick will eventually he'll be like, all right, so how much you want for it? And they'll be like, well, I was hoping to get $2,000 for it, and he'll pause and be like, okay, well, keep hoping, but what's the actual price you want to pay for it? And I'm like, fuck you, dude. Like, just tell him no. Like, why do you have to be a catty? Just like right. Oh yeah, I'll pay that on opposite day. Like, I don't know. So that gets a little old because it happens with every single item on every single episode. So especially when you're binge watching it, it's like, oh, shut up.
Yeah.
But the show has immense appeal to me because it's basically like the Antiques Roadshow. It has that same quality, that same appeal of here's this object, here's the history of this object. Some dude brought in like a weird like healing stick from a shaman, and Rick was basically like, yeah, I just can't verify how valuable this actually is. This just looks like some birds on a stick. Like, he's like, it has very spiritual value. And he's like, okay, well, I can't really, sorry. Every now and then. But it's mostly like people bring in some cool stuff that has a lot of history, a lot of old guns, which really interests me. Some dude came in with like a bayonet collection. Like, it's some pretty cool shit. And
wow.
If Rick himself doesn't know that much about it, the stuff, he has a lot of experts who come in and they'll explain the history of this kind of stuff. So you kind of learn some things. So the basic appeal is like it's kind of like a what's the item of the week, and there's anywhere from 5 to 8 different customers in an episode. So you get a real good mix of just like this person's got a painting, this person has a Playboy collection, this person has a document signed by John Hancock. It's some cool stuff. So I'm actually enjoying it despite Rick. So I'll continue watching the show just because I'm enjoying the history in a way that I didn't think I would.
Yeah. Speaking of that, there's another show on history called American Pickers.
Yeah.
Which I went through a little bit like watching that until it got like too obviously staged.
Yeah.
But like in the early days, it was a pretty cool show, and it was kind of the same deal. Like they'd go and they'd find or get a call from somebody who had like a barn full of stuff. Like somebody would call and be like, "My dad passed away, and he collected all this junk, and I don't know what it is." So they would come out to the barn and like just dig through everything, and then just buy whatever interested them,
right?
And then they put it in their store and they resell it. And they actually have 2 stores, and you can go to their stores and find the things that they found on the episodes and buy them. And so it's I've been to the store in Nashville, and it's a pretty cool place, and it's a fun little show.
Yeah,
so I'm with you on Pawn Stars. I'm
liking these History Channel shows so far.
Yeah.
So and like I said, it's just kind of nice to break up this, it's just nice to break up the monotony of,
sure.
Not the monotony, but just every now and then you can't just keep watching people like losing family members on like The Shield or something, you have to.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to movies. Okay. Well, since we both saw 3, Dustin, why don't we alternate? So why don't you go first and well, no. Let's not do that.
Okay.
Let's go with you first. What did you see?
Okay, so the first thing I saw is from 2010, so it's not quite old enough to be a retro review, but
right.
It's not like, hey, go see this in theaters or anything.
Yeah.
It's the Chronicles of Narnia: Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Alrighty.
Which
I've seen this.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'd never seen it, and I saw the first 2 in theaters, and if I remember right, the second one came out at some point while we were maybe freshman year at SCAD. Freshman or
first
sophomore year?
one.
The first one came out while we were in high school.
Yeah, I was going to say.
The second one was maybe freshman year of college or something.
Yeah.
Because I think they opened it.
What, Caspian?
Yeah. I think it opened like right around Indiana Jones.
Yeah, and then
in the summer.
And then this one was toward the end.
Right. And so anyway, a little bit of history here. Disney obviously was working on these, or was distributing these films, and they opened Prince Caspian, the second Narnia movie, up against Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and obviously Prince Caspian didn't make that much money.
Yeah.
So they dropped the franchise, and so the producers and Walden Media went to 20th Century Fox and were able to make The Voyage of the Dawn Treader for them. Now, the downside of this is they got a pretty drastically reduced budget, and just the change of hands shook up a few of the crew members, like the writers and directors and stuff, who had been on the picture for a while. So instead, we get Voyage of the Dawn Treader, directed by Michael Apted, and so basically. Our kids, the Pevensey kids, the two oldest, Susan and Peter, are too old to go back to Narnia. At the end of the second movie, Aslan tells them that, and so they play very minor, like cameo-ish type roles in this film. And it focuses on the younger of the siblings, that would be Edmund and Lucy, and Prince Caspian himself, and then Edmund and Lucy's cousin Eustace. So basically, they all get sucked into, and Eustace looks just like, Google this guy. He looks, to me, he looks like Todd from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I was going to say, him, Jesse Plemons, and Matt Damon must have all come from the same mother.
I know, for real, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But so Eustace is like a jerk and whatnot, and so anyway, there's not a whole lot to say about this, because it's been out for a few years, but basically, it is a cheaper version of Narnia, so it's a very limited scope. They took some of C.S. Lewis's bigger ideas and kind of made them more intimate. Some of the essentially this book is kind of like a roadshow kind of deal, where they're in a different place in each chapter, which works when it's a chapter, but in a movie you can't really go to all these different islands or whatever in one movie. So anyway, the story's a little bit, kind of like jumbled and rushed. But essentially, here's our story, right? So the kids end up in Narnia. They meet up with Prince Caspian, who's now King Caspian. And they're going off to find the 7 lords of Narnia who disappeared a long time ago. Now, they're sailing out east towards Aslan's country, and on the way they encounter these islands that have mysterious properties and stuff, and these islands essentially are temptations for the kids. So they're sort of like 7 deadly sins or whatever, that are represented on these islands that they go to. So anyway, nevertheless, there's a lot of different places that they go, and then they end up, fighting this big, battle at the end, as you would expect from a Narnia movie, but this time it's very limited in scope, and it's very obvious at this point that they're running out of money. Like, they blew all their money paying Liam Neeson and making a admittedly pretty good looking lion, CGI lion, but at the expense of everything else. So, because they didn't pay those kids that much. So, I really don't know where all the budget went, other than Aslan, Liam Neeson, and a whole ton of CGI.
Liam Neeson.
But yeah, so anyway, look, okay, the movie's not that great. To me, the movies kind of get worse and worse as they go along. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, I haven't watched it since, I don't know, 2007 maybe. So I'm not 100% sure if it's just nostalgia or whatever, but I remember it being a pretty good movie. Prince Caspian was really well shot, really a beautiful movie, but the plot was a little thin, and then this one, everything's a little thin, and it's just not as beautiful because they can't afford beauty in this.
Yeah.
But okay, so anyway, like I said, the film's limited scope kind of hinders it because from a fantasy movie, you don't want to be limited. You don't want to feel like they're pushing their budget. And like I said, the story's a little jumbled and hectic, but nevertheless, it's a fun movie to watch. I mean, it's fun just for the parallel. I mean, for me, C.S. Lewis wrote fiction, but he wrote fiction that had purpose. All of his fiction was a metaphor for daily living, and especially for Christian living. And so when you go into it and you read that into it, it gives it depth that a lot of fantasy or a lot of just plain old fiction doesn't have, to me. But that being said, it's not enough to save, a movie that feels like it's made cheaply. There's a dragon that plays very heavily in the film, and obviously this is a CGI character. And after you've seen Smaug, and after you've seen, any number of dragons, you just realize, like, this dragon is so cheaply made, it looks like a Xbox cutscene. and it's so sad because it's like, I wish this had the budget going into it that something like Potter or Lord of the Rings has, and so whatever. But anyway, do you know what I'm talking about here, Hooper?
Yeah.
If you can just picture that dragon in your head, it's like, yeah, they're running out of money.
Yeah, it's like I'm playing Skyrim.
Yeah, pretty much. It's Skyrim, only even like a little less detailed somehow.
Yeah.
But, whatever. So I watched it. I wouldn't say it's a waste. It was a waste of my time, but, it's not one of the better Narnia movies.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah, I wish that studios would take into account that, like, hey, like, why don't we just wait? Like, but I guess they just figured that they probably already done the math and just thought, yeah, the people who really want to enjoy this will notice that kind of stuff, but most people won't, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, like I said, I think it was Disney's fault that they put Caspian up against Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
These movies aren't summer movies, and I don't know why Caspian was released in May, but it was stupid. And this is very obviously a December movie. So whatever, it was Disney's fault. And anyway, so this movie, I think made like 4 times its budget, but still 20th Century Fox dumped them. From what I hear, the producers are still trying to make the next book. And if they do, it'll be independently. So, again, it'll probably be even cheaper than this one. So,
all right. Well, what's the next one you got?
The next one I've got is the Lego Movie, which I just got out of a few hours ago. I'm a little late on this one, so if you're interested in the Lego Movie, you've probably already seen it. But anyway, the Lego Movie I thought was a really good movie. It had way more depth than I was expecting. It was funny. I did not know that Liam Neeson and Morgan Freeman could be that funny. I just didn't know they were capable. But they really are funny, and the voice performances from the actors that they're able to get in this film, just phenomenal. I mean, everyone's right on point. And, anyway, it's a really fun movie to watch. Like I said, it has some depth to it that you might not expect. And, I mean, it's fun. And it's a CGI film, but it's animated differently than pretty much every other CGI film. I mean, basically Pixar, DreamWorks, all that stuff, I mean, they all pretty much are animated the same way. This is made to look like, I'm talking the style of animation, it's made to look like a stop motion, Lego movie.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm burping. Hold on. It's made to look like a stop motion Lego movie. And, it's a lot of fun, and Chris Pratt plays the main character, and or voices the main character, and he's just phenomenal. He's funny. Like, he can say just about anything, and it's funny. Very, very clever line readings from him, and from the rest of the cast too. And so, yeah, I was impressed with it. So
that's good. I can't wait to get that on rental, because Mrs. Hooper is interested in that movie as well.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
She's a big fan of Legos in general. Like,
yeah.
When I told her, I don't know if you know this about me, Dustin, I did not have Legos growing up.
Oh, really? Okay.
I didn't. She was like, "What do you mean?" You know, like, obviously, you know, the way she is, like, can't accept that. What do you mean? You didn't have Legos? Everyone had Legos. I thought, well, that's not true, because I didn't. So, you know, just saying, I didn't have Legos.
I didn't really have very many. I mean, it was just never really my thing. My brother was big into Legos.
Right, but you were you had the chance to be exposed to it, but you went a different way. Like, for some reason, my parents it never clicked with them. Like, hey, Legos, kids love that shit. And they just, I don't know if, they may have seen me making my paper figures, and they probably just thought, oh, okay, well, now we don't have to spend money on, you know, actual toys.
Yeah.
But I kind of, while I'm making all these little Goku paper figures, I'm like, if I had some Legos, this wouldn't be necessary. But
be sweet,
maybe there'd be no HooperCast if I had Legos growing up.
Maybe.
So, I don't know. Anyway, the point is, like, we're supposed to get the baby Legos later in life, and so when the movie came out, she was just like, oh, that looks pretty good. I'm not going to pay to see it in theaters, but it looks good.
It is, weirdly enough, like a love letter to Legos.
Yeah.
And it's a really fun movie.
The biggest thing I was looking forward to going into this will be just I'm excited for the voice cast, so it's good to hear that they all deliver. So that's good.
They do. There's really not like a misstep.
Like, sorry.
I was just going to say, a lot of times when they use celebrity voices, it's just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, obviously it's a celebrity.
Yeah.
But here,
they're performing.
Yeah, there are celebrity voices, but you kind of forget, and they all are so perfect for their character.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Apparently, this is the first. I didn't know this. This is the first voice role Morgan Freeman's done. Like,
besides narration.
Yeah, besides narration. Apparently, I saw that on like Star Talk or Extras or something. Like when I was walking through the break room at work, making some popcorn, and I was like, I found it hard to believe. I was like, really? And I thought about it, and I was like, I guess everything he's done where he's not on screen is just narration. According to this chick, and he seemed like, oh yeah, you're right. Unless he was just bullshitting her to make her not feel stupid. Like he hasn't done an animated voice except this movie.
Wow.
I was like, wow. So that's
really
so if you can pull Morgan Freeman into a voice role, then like your script must be good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's good to hear. What's your final one?
My final one I also got out of today. It opened today, and it is The Muppets Most Wanted.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's what I'm going to say about The Muppets. It's a really fun movie. Don't overthink it.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I thought it was, in a way, funnier than the Lego Movie. Maybe it had, just because it had more obvious jokes. I don't know. But in a way, I probably laughed out loud more in the Muppets.
Real quick, Dustin. Something is scratching your mic. It's been doing it for like 20 minutes, but I don't know if it's if you're looking at your waveforms, it's probably not registering on your actual recording.
I don't see anything.
Okay, if it's not, then that's fine. 'Cause I can deal with it. Okay, I just didn't know if you were watching your waveforms, but if you are and everything looks fine, then screw it.
Weird.
It just sounds like you're just scratching and picking at it. Maybe I thought there was like a rat eating your microphone.
Huh. Is it like this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I have my headphones on.
Is your cord scratching or something?
My cord is like dangling down, and it's like scratching up against my chair.
Oh, okay.
My bad.
It might be that. Okay. Anyway, as long as it's not on your recording, I didn't give it. I don't know, whatever.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I have my phone going too.
Okay.
So.
All right, keep going. Sorry.
It's on a different mic. So yeah, the Muppets had just more obvious jokes, and I probably laughed more in the Muppets. than the Lego Movie. But here's the thing: the Muppets Most Wanted is lacking in a few areas that the previous one wasn't, but the previous one is lacking in areas that this one isn't. So in certain ways, this one's better than the last one, and in certain ways, the last one's better than this one.
Can I take a guess?
Sure, yeah.
All right. Well, you don't have to answer this right now. I'll see if I'm right later. But I want to guess that I think the last one, maybe it's lacking in that there's less focus on humans in this one. And maybe the difference also is that there are more Muppets that we didn't see in the last movie in this movie.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
See if I'm right. Keep listening, audience. We'll find out.
Yes. You are right.
That's my... really? Okay.
Yeah, it's... They're advertising it as Rick Gervais, Ty Burrell, and Tina Fey, as their show, basically.
Yeah.
But it really isn't. It really is more focused on the Muppets. But, in a weird way, it's also not. Let me explain. The story is that Kermit and the gang, fresh off of their success from the previous film, which from here on out I'll call the first film, but I know that it's not their first film. But okay, so fresh off the success from their first film, they are now embarking on a world tour to, take the Muppet Show around the world. And they're going to, all of these places like Madrid and Dublin and Germany. Okay, so basically, here's the deal. They team up with a guy named played by Ricky Gervais. His name is Dominic Badgie, although it's spelled bad guy. So Dominic Bad Guy, or I'm sorry, Badgie, recruits the Muppets. I didn't expect that to get that big of a laugh, Hooper.
Oh, Jesus Christ, it's funny.
So he becomes the Muppets manager and sets them up with all of these gigs. And as it turns out, he's working with... Good Lord!
I'm sorry, it's so funny. Just like, oh, my name's Dominic Badgie, here's my card. It's like, oh, it looks like bad guy. No, it's just Badgie. It's like, oh, well, you're probably... You're okay, right?
Yeah, I think he slips them his card, and they're like... I think Fozzie's like, Dominic Bad Guy? And he goes, it's pronounced Badgie. And they're all like, oh.
Alright. I'll keep my shit together, but that's the funniest thing I've heard all day.
It is. It's good. See, the Muppets this movie has moments like that where it really is just gut-bustingly funny. And not just pandering to kids either. There's movie references that kids are not going to get.
Yeah.
And usually movie references are kind of lame, but some of these are really good. And so anyway, they're going on this world tour. Dominic Badgie is their tour manager, and he's working with the most dangerous frog in the world. His name is Constantine. He happens to look a lot like Kermit. Have you not even seen a trailer for this, Hooper?
No!
I'm pretty sure most of what I'm saying right now is in the trailer.
Common knowledge.
So Constantine looks just like Kermit, except he has a mole on his lip. and so he escapes from prison and takes Kermit's place with the Muppets and sends Kermit to the gulag.
Oh.
And so it is, it's like just a switcheroo kind of deal. And none of the Muppets realize that Constantine is not Kermit, even though his Kermit impression is terrible.
Yeah.
Because he can't get rid of his Russian accent and whatnot. And so, anyway, here's the deal. Basically, Hooper, you got me so flustered, I don't even remember where I was going with this. But nevertheless, I know what it was. The movie seems to focus a lot on Constantine. And so, the plus of that is we're not focused on live action like person.
Mm-hmm.
But the downside is we're still not really focused on the Muppets.
Right.
So Kermit in this one really doesn't have a lot to do, with the plot, the main plot of Constantine. Kermit's off in the gulag. That being said, a lot of the other characters are just given minor roles in this, like Fozzie, Gonzo. Gonzo has maybe 3 lines in the whole movie.
Wow. And
so really the focus is on Constantine and Miss Piggy. Those are the characters in this movie. It's a little frustrating still that they're not finding the right balance for the Muppet characters, because if you look back at the first Muppet movie, it's just Kermit. Kermit is the main character, Fozzie is the supporting character, and it's their adventure. And they're still, I guess, maybe afraid of letting, these puppets be main characters, sort of like Michael Bay's afraid of letting robots be main characters. But, whatever. The movie's still charming. It's still funny. The music in the first one is better than the music in this one, but there's a couple of standout numbers. Like I said, Kermit doesn't have a whole lot to do, and when he does, he kind of doesn't even seem like Kermit. And that's probably for 2 reasons. One, in order to make the Muppets accept Constantine into their group as Kermit had to kind of rub everybody the wrong way at the beginning of the movie. So in the first few minutes, Kermit kind of is unlikable. And that's really, really strange, and Kermit shouldn't be that. It's just still frustrating that Kermit isn't the main character, I guess, to me.
Yeah.
But look, the movie's fun, and it's really funny, and like I said, it does some things better, it does some things worse. But I did find myself laughing out loud at this probably more than the last one, and I enjoyed myself in this movie. Having said that, too, there's a couple things that bug me that look a little cheap as far as visual effects go. Like they tried a little too hard showing the Muppets like full bodies a few times.
Oh.
They did that with Kermit every now and then, where you'll see his legs and everything, and it works when it's just very sparingly. When we see the Muppets full bodies too much, it becomes really weird to me.
Yeah.
So there again, that was distracting. At the and some of those visual effects shots, because they require CGI and whatever else, aren't really that great. At the end, at the final, like the big finale, the big musical finale, there are some shots in that look like YouTube level visual effects, like really, really poor.
Huh.
It's really frustrating. Also, here's what I'll say about this too. It does feel more like a Muppet movie than the last one, because the cameos, the celebrity cameos, are abundant and they're quick, for the most part, and they're funny. That's the big thing. In the first or in the last Muppets movie, we see a bunch of celebrities like on the phone at the Muppet Show, but they're not really doing anything funny.
Right.
It's like Selena Gomez and Neil Patrick Harris, but they're not doing anything. So anyway, in this, the cameos are used well. They're funny. Like I said, if it's something like, it's fun. Don't overthink it. Don't go in and be like, oh, that's stupid, or that won't work, or whatever. Because they're puppets. Like, chill. And also, it's a kids movie, so chill again.
Yeah.
And I don't know. To me, I had a lot of fun in it, and whatever. Sue me. I know I don't think it's as well reviewed as the last one, so whatever. But right. I may have liked it more, because I liked the last movie. Don't get me wrong, but when you rewatch it, I find myself skipping through all of the Jason Segel stuff. I'm like, I don't care about this. I don't care. And the big song number with Amy Adams and Miss Piggy, I skipped through that. I'm like, what? I don't even care about one of these people. And you know what I mean? It's frustrating that they still haven't found that right balance, and that you're still like fast forwarding through stuff. And I'm sure if I got this movie on DVD or on Blu-ray, which I probably will, I'll probably skip through some of it too. And it is a tad long, but whatever. Anyway, now I'm nitpicking. But here's the deal: if you're a Muppets fan, go see it. Have fun with it. You will have fun with it. If you're not a Muppets fan, maybe it's not going to be for you, because this one does focus more on the Muppets than the last one. So, I don't know. Whatever. There you go.
Right.
But it's fun. So chill out. All you people that are out there being like, oh, but the plot was thin. Or shut up. It's for kids. Like, just chill. You know what I mean? Not everything has to be, Zodiac over here. So,
yeah.
Although a Muppets version of Zodiac would be awesome.
That would be pretty sweet.
It would be like the Swedish Chef as the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah. You'd have to have, who would be Robert Graysmith? It'd have to be Gonzo. And then
yes, definitely.
Kermit would be the Paul Avery character.
Yeah.
And, no, Kermit would be the cop, I think. He'd be the cop. He'd be, what's his name? Tosky. And,
yeah.
I think Fozzie would be Paul Avery. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just picture Fozzie getting like emphysema at the end of the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let me say this too.
Yes.
Hooper, is this something that you'll see in theaters? Do you think?
Muppets?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Okay. Well, whenever you see it, pay attention to Steve Whitmire, because I feel like his voice is changing.
Uh-oh.
And maybe I'm looking into it too much, but I feel like his voice is changing. And some of the characters just don't quite sound like themselves, don't quite have the same energy that they normally do. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few times when I feel like it should have been more energetic than it was. And like I said, Steve Whitmire's voice may be a little different in this, and it's a little worrying, but whatever.
Huh. Well, I hope that's not the case, but sounds like it. Dustin, for time, you have to jump the retro reviews to next time.
Yeah.
I think we saw more than we thought we were going to see, like with movies. Luckily, two of my movies will be short.
Okay.
One of them is I saw Ender's Game. I followed. I saw Ender's Game and I saw Prisoners.
Okay.
I followed yours and Michael Grayson's advice, and I saw them both. And
gotcha.
So, Ender's Game was pretty cool. I'm glad I watched it. I think it was. I really liked the visual effects. I liked the story, but the story's from the book, and
right.
The acting was kind of weird, though. I'll have to say, like some of the acting. What?
I just never mind.
Oh, yeah. It some of it, I don't know if I could just tell that. Like, I don't know if some of the lines just. I think having not read the book, I don't know exactly what it was, but it sounded like, having read some of the book, I took that template and ran with it. I think that some of the lines they wanted to keep like carbon copy from the book, and they were just kind of stilted for the actors to say, which again it's like you're too married to the source material. Like just change the wording to suit the actor or whatever. It just sounded like kind of like the whole like, see, at least in The Watchmen, like when they spoke from the book, everyone was so well cast that it sounded fine.
Yeah.
Like it was a carbon copy of the graphic novel, but that looked really good. The Watchmen's a fluke, in my opinion, in that way. Mm-hmm. but this, it just sounded like a couple times they were trying to stick too close to the actual source, to the actual words, like, and it seemed like it stilted the dialogue a little bit. Nevertheless, I was engaged in the movie, and I really enjoyed it. You know, kind of just watching this kid climb the ladder, basically, and then become a commander. And then the ending's really cool as well. And so overall, I liked it. I expected it to be terrible. I hope that this movie kind of wins in the end financially, just because when it came out, everyone was talking about how Orson Scott Card was a homophobe, and I just thought that was the dumbest thing for people to fixate on. Like, there's nothing in the movie, period, about, like, people's personal choices. Like, period.
Right.
So that shouldn't have any, whatever. Anyway, so Ender's Game was cool. I'm glad I didn't pay to see it in theaters, but I'm glad I rented it. So that was nice.
Nice.
Prisoners was pretty sweet too. Really long.
Yeah, it was.
But I agree, it was well shot. And the whole time I was just guessing. The whole time I was just like, well, you know, what's up with this guy? Like, and you know, did he do it? Did he not do it? And I really kind of enjoyed the whole, like, watching. You know, like, it's like you said, like, how far will you go, and what are the consequences of going far, and to what degree are you sure about what you're doing before you take action? And what are the consequences? What if you're wrong? What if you're not wrong? Like, what, you know, what will actually help? Like, what's actually the best thing to do in this situation? And of course, the way it ends, you know, you know, are you should you have done something else? Was this the right choice? Like, who wins here, really? Yeah. So, you know, I kind of didn't like the very end. I won't say too much, you know, but Dustin knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. I'll just say with the whistle, because then it's just like, okay, does that imply, like is he gonna walk away, or is he gonna be like, oh, let me figure out where this is coming from? It's like, what happens? I guess it doesn't matter, because either way, it's just, you know, things will be bad for that person. But so, but I was just kind of like, that's the way you'd end like an episode of television. Yeah. You know, not a movie.
or like a season finale, because then the next season will be what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I liked it overall, and good film. Yeah. Okay, so but the other thing I saw, the last thing I saw was this came out in 2012, I believe, and it's a little film called Robot and Frank, and it's I guess it was a little indie movie, and it's starring Frank Langella, and you know, supporting characters from James Marsden and Liv Tyler, but it's basically about this old guy, Frank, and who's entering the beginning stages of dementia. Or maybe he's not the beginning stages, because he keeps forgetting that this restaurant he likes is closed and stuff. He's functioning level of dementia. Right. But you know, he's kind of entering that point where it's getting bad enough to where he might have to go into a home. And so the context for this film is, at the beginning they say it's the near future. And I just want to say, I appreciate the vagueness of that. To me, that means far enough away for this premise to work, but close enough to now to where we don't have to do a lot of production design. We don't have to make the cars look different. But that's the best kind, because if you look at how things change, like, most shit looks the same 10 years from each other. Like, you know, cars gradually change, other stuff gradually changes, but his son drives an Audi, and Audis will probably look like that in 10 years. It'll just have a different kind of wax, you know, or like a more resistant tire. But it's good for indie films, because they have more freedom with this, with that amount of with that kind of vagueness, and they also don't have to do a lot of, you know, oh, everything's made of steel and this and that. Like, his house looks normal. There's just a couple of things that are different, and the main thing that's different is there's robots, and it's kind of like that whoever Honda made that robot, you know, where it could kind of could sort of lightly jog, and it could bring you a tray and stuff. It's like that. It can open doors and shit. And so they bring him, and this is, by the way, the second robot I've seen Kevin Spacey play, because he's
Moon.
Gertie in Moon, and then he's Robot here. Like, he doesn't even give him a name; it's Robot. And James, his son, brings him the robot basically just like to help him out. So the catch is Frank used to be a cat burglar. And so he decides that since the robot is capable of lying for him, and has like a photographic memory and all this other useful stuff, he runs into this this guy that he just hates, and he notices his wife has nice jewelry, and he goes, we're gonna rob this guy. So he plans like a heist with the robot, and the robot, as its functioning directive is to make him feel better, to make Frank's life easier and stuff. He considers this part of his job because it's helping with his dementia. Having him occupied towards a goal is good for him. So most of the movie is just like Frank. He's actually developing a bond with this robot, and while they're planning this heist, and he's just enabling this terrible habit. Just enabling this criminal to steal from people. And the ending is very, very sweet, and it's just it's short. It's 90 minutes, so it doesn't waste your time. It doesn't keep you around forever. It basically it's a sweet little story, especially as he develops more and more of an attachment to the robot, and then people get suspicious about what he's doing, and really just a sweet movie. It's just it was good. I was really pleased with it. So that's on Amazon Instant. I saw it at the library today when I was picking up other movies. So I mean, you can get this thing anywhere. It's recent enough. I think it's still in Redbox.
Gotcha. I was going to say I saw it either on Redbox or Netflix.
Yeah, I think it's all over the place. So it's really easy to see this film. I'm really glad I saw it. A sweet little film.
Good.
So, I prefer the unspecified futures because it also doesn't date the movie. Like, you won't watch it and be... Because, at a certain point, you watch... in 2054, people are going to watch Minority Report and be like, this isn't what the day looks like.
Yeah,
like,
doesn't it say in Terminator 2 that Judgment Day is in 1997?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, and other movies like, like 2007 or so, a lot of the futures are, just they date themselves. And what I prefer, I like what Robot and Frank did. And the first example I saw that was in A Scanner Darkly. It starts with 7 years from now.
I gotcha.
So it's just like, because it doesn't assume, you date, this the quickest way to date the movie is references to like social trends.
Yeah.
Like references to twerking and shit. People remember like, oh, that was a thing. You know what I mean? Like, that dates the movie. Or, specifying a year if it's not a true story, especially if it's in the future. Because it's just like, that 20 years from now, all this shit you're seeing isn't going to happen. At least Idiocracy is like, millions of years in the future.
Yeah.
So who gives a shit? But like...
That's why I liked, in the Mega Man games, like Mega Man X, it always said in the year 20XX.
Yeah.
So it's sometime.
It's just unspecified.
Yeah.
You can kind of project, and it's also like, I think Scanner Darkly starts, I think it says 7 years from this moment. Like, not just now, like when we're making it. Like, you're meant to think, like, wherever you are right now, this is 7 years into your future.
Right.
Just picture like in the next 7 years we'll develop like copious surveillance technology and the war and harder drugs and different drugs. And this one just says, hey, look, in the near future, which to me means like within 5 years, the near future, nothing's going to change really except we'll have these robots. We'll really develop these helpful robots.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. I wish more sci-fi movies would do that because it just makes me appreciate it more, and it makes it more rewatchable because, believe it or not, the dating in the movies, that does bother people.
Yeah.
And it does distract people.
Yeah.
Well, we will have to postpone these retro reviews, but until then, I'm still excited to talk about everything we've got, but I guess we'll wait, listener. You'll have to hit play again. Yo.
Part 2.
R2.
You rattled his cage.
You rattled his cage. You rattled the cage, and then like he's a bird in the cage, but you rattle the cage too much, the bird will die. And then you'll have to buy a new pet, but PetSmart's closed, so you're gonna have to wait till Monday.
Alfred, go get me a new pet.
I need a new bird. What happened, sir? I rattled his cage.
Master Bruce, you really shouldn't rattle their cages.
I wanted to see what he would do. I thought maybe he'd dance. He wouldn't move enough, so I rattled his cage. But then he died.
I thought you were smart, sir.
I'm smart enough to know that the birds can't rattle the cages for birds.
I didn't understand a word of that. I raised you. I changed your bloody diapers, and I don't understand a word you say.
I've had a lot of bourbon. I'm upset about the bird. I just thought he was real quiet.
Well, he was, sir. That's because he's dead.
You sold my dead bird to a blind kid? I just thought he was real quiet.
I'm just imagining now, like, in
Do you know what I'm
Bruce,
talking about?
like, in the
Right.
Batcave. What's that?
You know what I'm referencing, right?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I have no clue. That's why I
is like-
changed the subject so
This
quick.
is like last week with the Craig T. Nelson poltergeist thing.
Yes, yes.
In Dumb and Dumber, they have the bird, and so they sell their shit
Oh,
to like pay for all
yes.
the food they're gonna have on their trip. And
Yes, yeah.
but the bird's been dead because the henchman killed it. So he taped the bird's head back on him and sold him to a blind kid.
Correct. Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in a long. Or the
the
beginning
kid-
of that movie in a long time.
And the kid's telling the news anchor like, "I just thought the bird was real quiet."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I just did not expect a Dumb and Dumber reference at all at this juncture.
Yeah, it's about all it's good for at this point.
Yeah, but yeah, it's what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I was when we were doing the Batman thing. I just picture in the Batcave, like there's the big T-Rex and the giant penny, and then just like on a pedestal, a little bird cage, with like a Sharpie markered like name plate or something that says like Jason. That's what he named his bird, was Jason.
There's a T-Rex in the Batcave?
Yeah, dude. Google
What?
search the Batcave. I
Just the
guarantee you
Batcave.
one of them comes up has a T-Rex in it.
Let me see this shit.
It's like
Oh, wow,
it's
one
a
of them-
staple. It's a
I see
staple
it.
of the Batcave.
Yeah. Oh, and the giant pen? Yeah.
I'm looking at
Batman.
like the first two images on mine have the T-Rex, and then the fifth one has the T-Rex.
The big Joker card.
Yeah, and the giant penny.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are
Ah.
staples.
I
I don't
did
know
not
where they
realize this.
started, but they're always there.
It sounds like a weird, like, self-indulgent thought. Like, you wouldn't think that that's a staple of the Batcave. You'd think that that was, like, if McG or Michael Bay directed a Batman movie, that they'd be like, I want to put a big T-Rex right here.
Right? Yeah.
You know?
But no. Bruce Wayne loves his T-Rexes.
Wow.
I would imagine that it came from like all of the things in the Batcave, like in that part of the Batcave, come from his adventures.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess somebody had a big T-Rex. I guess that was part of like the Joker's plan one day or something.
Yeah.
And the giant penny, I think, maybe is like a Two-Face thing. I don't know.
Interesting.
I'm just spitballing.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have for this iteration of the HooperCast. Again, click the donate button if you like us, and if you don't, well then, that's your choice. But we like you.
Yes.
And
So rattle our cage if you get a chance.
yeah, just rattle our cage.
Rattle our cage.
Rattle our cage.
I don't have to kill you. Or I'm not going to kill you.
But I don't have to save you.
But I don't have to donate to your channel.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I won't bring down your channel, but I won't give a penny. Not even a penny. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for listening. We'll see you next time for 56, and we will definitely have these retro reviews, maybe other retro reviews, and definitely a couple more movies from me at least.
Yay.
Yay! Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Hooray!
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a very special guest tonight is Hooper from the HooperCast. Oh, Kermit! Kermit! Oh, Lord.
Baby! Oh.
Oh, no. Oh, please.
Yeah, I don't know about this.
I can't take any more, Piggy.
Yeah, I can't. You're suffocating me. You're suffocating me.
Oh, Kermit!
I feel like I can't see my friends, and I can't go anywhere. It's always hey, hang out with me.
It's true, Kermit. Tell her about the Super Bowl. How you couldn't
Tell her how you feel.
couldn't watch the Super Bowl with us.
Oh, yeah. Couldn't watch the big game. I couldn't hang out with Rolf. I wanted to go over to his doghouse and, hang out with him and his bitches. And,
It's a dog pun.
Yeah, the dog, yeah. And I couldn't do it. You said, what about our Sunday? And I just wanted to be like, hey, you know what? Fuck your Sunday. I want to watch the game.
But Kermit, what about moi? I can't do it. Oh, that hurt.
What about toi?
Oh,
What?
that kind of hurt my throat. How did
Yeah,
Frank Oz do that for years?
Mine's killing me. It's like when you're carrying like something heavy and just like you can feel like just everything in your arm just tightening
Yeah.
and stuff. My whole throat is compressing down onto my windpipe right now.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, I don't know how...
Like it's up in my jaw. Like Kermit's all in my jaw. After a while, I'll eat it. Like
He's in my jaw too. That's
one
right.
time I think we were on the phone doing Kermit, and then like I remember getting home and eating and just thinking like, Jesus, this hurts.
Yeah, I don't know how Jim did it for so long.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
And then,
Maybe
and then
that's
like
what kills
singing too. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's
ridiculous.
They found a way to put Kermit into their throat and their diaphragm. And I'm just like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know
how you can. I mean, the most I can do with Kermit, like all I can do is talk in his cadence, like the way I'm speaking like him, but with my voice,
Right.
But it doesn't sound like him,
No.
you know.
You have to,
And so
you
I
have
don't
to
know
lock it down.
how they.
Push that sound out of their chest all the way up to the throat and into the mouth.
Now sing Rainbow Connection like that.
One day we'll find it. The Rainbow Connection.
The lovers,
The
the dreamers, and me.
Yeah, it's hard.
All of us under its spell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run to the hills. Run for your life. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
It's not that easy being green.
Okay. Well, that oh god, that really shot me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I gotta go.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right, homie.
All right.
See ya.
Goodbye.